on Celtic fans' view this evening. How are we all doing? Before we get into this evening's Celtic news, we will jump into the comment section. We'll jump into the comment section and see what's going on in the comment section. Say hello to everyone first of all. First up was obviously George Shirley. He says, Baz, why are our players leaving or wanted by foreign clubs? We'll talk about that in a minute. Joe Bill Rogers is attending a disciplinary meeting on the 28th of March. What a coincidence when the Hun game is the 7th of April. Why wait 3 weeks? They must be really busy. When you think about it, they managed to have an appeal on Monday. Or was it yesterday? Anyway, they managed to reject an appeal for a red card pretty quick, but they're going to leave Brendan sweating. Paul McEwen's in the house. Afternoon, hail. Evan Shaw is in the house. Clement can ask, who cares about Clement? Ian's in the house, and by the time I think you turn 16, they're already bored with playing the same players for years. They've been doing it for a pro career. Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. Why are UEFA not looking into our refs and VAR? Well, that's an interesting one. Why are the refs not looking into? Why is UEFA not looking into our refs and VAR? You would think. I'll get to that in a minute. Well, you would think that there would be a standard for the refereeing and for what clubs have to spend on VAR, and what I mean, we've got a watered down version of VAR. We really have a watered down version of VAR in Scotland, and you can see it. Anyway. Fester over Ibrox criticised referees' decisions. I'm not going to go about that. And there's quite a lot of people in. I'm going to jump through it all. If I don't mention you, don't be too offended. Lanky's in the house. Lorna's in the house. Even you, Lorna. Merrydoll 1888 is in the house. Neil Kelly's in the house. And GT Boy 67's in. Stuart Ramsey's in. Stephen Kennedy. Lindsay. Mark. John. Paul. Irish Corner. Stonehill. Hail from the Armagh. The Armagh region. Fantastic. But I want to just sing rebel songs. As soon as I hear Armagh, I just want to get the little Armalite. He'll buy Baz. It's Patrick Toner. Right, let's get into the Celtic news. The Celtic news this evening is obviously Brendan Rodgers. Go with that story first. Brendan Rodgers has been charged by the Scottish FA. The Celtic boss faces a possible ban for the Rangers clash. Surprise, surprise. Showing their true colours, aren't they? Showing their true colours, the SFA. And it's no wonder, finish my call. It's no wonder that. Could you imagine that it was 30 years ago today that Fergus McCann took over? And could you imagine what Fergus McCann would make of this type of situation? Fergus McCann would throw the book at them and he would take legal action. I wonder what the board will do to back Brendan in his hour of need. Anyway, the comments came after the defeat to Hearts. Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers has been charged by the Scottish FA over his post-match comments with the match officials following the 2-0 defeat by Hearts on Sunday. So, Scottish football, you're not allowed to criticise anyone. You're not allowed to criticise anyone. It seems, and if you do, you'll get banned from the touchline. Then he accused referee Don Robertson and video assistant John Beaton of really a poor officiating. How can you get banned? How can you get a sideline ban for just saying it was really poor officiating? Everyone has a bad day at the office, we could say, right? And it's like, well, you had a shit day at the office. Does he get off with saying that? It's going to be an interesting one, and you can tell he's going to get a ban. He's going to get a ban, and they will make sure that he's not there at Ibrox. Which is anyway. There's other breaking news today about the one and only Kieran Tierney. Now, I don't know if you watch any of the Arsenal channels, but there's a guy, Charles Watts, does an Arsenal channel. He's got 95,000 subscribers. As you expect with big clubs down in the English Premiership, their YouTube channels always have massive followings purely for the fact that they've got millions of more people able to watch the channels compared to up here in Scotland. He did a video 2 days ago called Arsenal's Latest News, Arteta's Dream Midfield, points, targets, set, team news. And in the 15-minute mark of the video, he was asked about Kieran Tierney. He was asked about Kieran Tierney going back to Arsenal, and he basically said that is Kieran Tierney, who signed for Arsenal in 2019. He says that he reckons his time is up at Arsenal, despite a loan spell at Real Sociedad, where Tierney made a positive impression at the first half of the season. He has been injured up in Real Sociedad. That's the coldest part of Spain, Kieran. It's the coldest part of Spain to stay in. But it's been suggested that no one knows where his next destination is. With Celtic, will inevitably be linked with him this summer. Will inevitably be linked with him. Arsenal did try to sell him last summer, but when you look at these injuries that he's had at Arsenal over the years, would Kieran Tierney be a good player to bring back? I don't think so. I think he's too injury prone now. If he can stay and get a hot weather, a bit of Spain where it's a bit warmer for him, he could maybe help him stay a bit more injury free. And by all accounts, when you look at some of the interviews that he's done over here, he's absolutely loving life in Spain. He's eating squid and everything on a daily basis. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. But he does say, the guy says, Charles Watt says, I think Tierney's time at Arsenal is coming to an end. I don't know where he'll be going in the summer. Arsenal are open to selling him on a permanent basis. Last summer, no real bids came in for him, so they sent him off to Sociedad. Whether Sociedad will turn the move permanent this summer, we'll have to wait and see. He's obviously made a good impact, but he has had injuries, and he doesn't see any way back for him at Arsenal. So that's just an interesting one, just to keep an eye on, because we have been linked with Kieran Tierney before. But my point is, due to his ongoing injuries that he's had over the seasons, would it be good for him to come back to Celtic? I'm not too sure. He's eating squid. Of course he's eating squid. He's eating squid, and he's eating all sorts of fish every day. He loves it. Anyway, these squids in. See, I love it when Scottish starts talking about it and slag off it. I eat squid rings every day, every couple of days. Absolutely. Calamari. Absolutely brilliant. Deep fried calamari. The best thing ever. Best thing ever. Right, we talked about Kieran Tierney, and I'll put a link to that Arsenal one. Right, we need to talk about an ex-manager, because Tottenham Hotspur's news are saying that Tottenham are set for a big payday amid Ange Postecoglou Celtic reunion in Scotland. Would you go? Believe this. Would you go and watch Celtic play Tottenham and Ange Postecoglou in a pre-season friendly? And a pre-season friendly that you can guarantee will not be on the season ticket. It'll be a pre-season friendly that will not be on the season book, right? It won't be one that you'll get on the season book as a free. It'll be one that you have to pay for. Would you go and see Ange Postecoglou's Arsenal team thump Celtic in a pre-season friendly at Celtic Park? Would you pay 28 quid or 25 quid to go and see Celtic get beat by Ange Postecoglou? Ange Postecoglou, who was offered an extended contract at Celtic. Surely he's not going to come and let's face it, surely you're not going to bring that lot up here with their other Israeli flags, because let's face it, they are a Jewish team. Surely they're going to play Rangers. And there's a lot of speculation that they're going to come and see Celtic, come and play Celtic, but I don't see that. I think that, would they come back with Ange Postecoglou? Has that been part of the deal? Will you come back here for a pre-season friendly? I hope not. Absolutely hope not. Short and sweet. The answer is no. Let's get some of the comments to that one. Apparently, just for set, KT will always be linked to Celtic no matter what. The question, where is Brendan Rodgers' next destination? The quicker he goes, the better to take the board with him as well, says Paul Baird. And Carly says, you are what you eat. After all, yes, you are that. Nice, healthy diet is what this place is good for. Chilwell says, no, when it comes to going to see Ange Postecoglou and Brendan Rodgers face off. Would it be a good game? considering the money that they've got. I can't even see. I don't want to see that game. That's a game that I wouldn't want to see in any manner of means. Tottenham is a club that should never be anywhere near Celtic Park. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to some of the comments. Yes, I would love Big Ange. The Strange Love Doctor, I would still love Big Ange, and he would go and watch that game. Do you think, because it would definitely be one of the games that is not on your pre-season book, right? There's not a chance that they're going to bring up a club like Spurs and it not be a pay game. They expect a big full house for that, and it's never going to be a big full house because pre-season friendlies, you never get a full house for them. Not a chance. Anyway, let's get back to we would get humped by Spurs. Yeah, we probably would get humped by Spurs, especially playing the way that Ange plays and the way that Brendan plays. It would be just a nightmare. Anyway, we move on from that one. Rocco Vata. Rocco Vata. Yes. He's making headlines today again because Rocco Vata is attracting interest from champion side Watford, according to The Athletic. The 18-year-old forward is out of contract at the end of the season. He has been offered a new contract by Celtic that would run until 2027, but he's refused to sign on those terms that's been offered by Celtic at the moment. He's refused to sign the contract. I always find it funny when you've got a young guy that's coming through the academy and he refuses his first contract at Celtic. It's going to see him going into the first team. But has found first team opportunities under Brendan Rodgers sparse, to say the least. I thought him and Ben Summers at the start of the season might have got some more game time, but Ben Summers, Brendan decided that it would be better to put him out on loan, the same as some of the other younger players. Rocco Vata was offered that opportunity and refused it. So the 18-year-old, who is they're saying is a striker, has been linked with a move down south. But Watford would only have to pay around 239,000 compensation to Celtic if he was to leave this summer and he was to join Watford. Would that be good for him? You've got to remember there was allegedly teams in Italy after Rocco Vata at the last transfer window. Why did Celtic not just sell the player? If he was refusing to sign a new contract, because he wants better terms, I would sell him. Vata's 18 and he needs to act like an 18-year-old at a big club. And look at the other youngsters who have left and failed, says Chilpel. Kevin Kimmett says, get him fit. Carly says, 1888 CFC says, makes you wonder. It does make you wonder. Paul, Liverpool next manager be Javi Alonso. Do you think it will be Javi Alonso? Think so? It doesn't look like it's going to be the one and only Spurs manager anyway. Doesn't think it's going to be the Spurs manager. Kidding on, Buzz. What were you saying? What are you kidding on? You said I look like a squid. Ah, well, you see. You look like a trout. Let's just throw insults at each other tonight. Anyway, right. Rocco Vata, what do you make of that situation? The fact that he's refused a new contract that would keep him at Celtic until the year 2027. I think it's a fantastic contract for him. But if he doesn't want to sign it, it's no wonder that he's not getting played. He's probably not getting played by Brendan because Brendan's well, if you don't sign a new contract, I'm not going to play you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to play you, and it's taking the chances of other young lads in the team. It's stopping their progress. I would rather play young lads that are committed to Celtic going forward, and you see what happens with the young boy Kelly that comes on. Anyway, if I hadn't signed for the best club in the world, Mighty Glasgow Celtic, then get him to foot. That's interesting. Chuppel says the problem with Vata is because the league race is so tight. He's not getting games. However, I played him before. Nico Kuhn. Yes, Nico Kuhn, who was brought in as a 5-year deal contract. But I still want to get back to this. I mean, Daniel Levy had said Daniel Levy could look to make the most of Ange Postecoglou's connection to Scottish football this summer. Postecoglou enjoyed a positive debut season at the Premier League since he swapped life in Glasgow for North London. The Spurs that ended 22-23. The Australian had wasted little time winning over the new supporters and could yet guide Tottenham back into the UEFA Champions League for the first time of asking. Despite some difficulties, the following are a tumultuous 5-year period. Fucking who cares about them? Who cares about them? Postecoglou at the helm. It says it's obviously one venue that Tottenham will be targeting for a pre-season friendly in Scotland. Would Celtic be wise to bring Spurs up? Tottenham. I would say no. Not with the current situation. Not with the current situation. That's all I'm going to say. We'll move on from that. It wouldn't make good. It's no. It just that fucking lot are going to come up here looking for a fight. For starters, they're going to come. Their fans are going to come up looking for a fight. It wouldn't be a good friendly, and it wouldn't be a family friendly that Celtic usually do in the summer. And put it this way, you're going to have to pay about 20 to 25 quid to watch it because there's no way will that friendly be on the free season book the free games that you get pre-season if you get any. John Shirley, Baz heard once our contract signed. He would like to have another go at the Scottish League. We're just like, I don't think so. He'll hail from Bulgaria is in the house this evening. Yesterday, who was the best Celtic player? Who do you think is the worst? Bernaby? We're going to start that tonight again. We'll leave that for another video. Chilpel says, bring in the special one for Rodgers when he's suspended. That would be funny. That would be funny. Would you bring in Jose Mourinho for a game? I'd bring in Jose just to sit on the sidelines, wind up the Rangers fans. Bullying jersey should be incentive enough for any young player, says Irish Corner Store, talking about the one and only Rocco Vata, who's refused a new contract at Celtic. And I think it's a disappointing one, but the fact that he's now been linked with Watford, there's no smoke without fire. You know, a club has obviously made contact with his agent, and it is his agent that's doing the talking behind the scenes. So, anyway, getting back to this, Tottenham Hotspur News.com, they're talking about Celtic Park. The iconic ground holds Celtic 60,000 plus and won ticket sales as well as the money generated from food purchases taking into account. Daniel Levy would be a happy man. How would he be happy? They think that they're going to get half the money from the gate receipt for playing a friendly at Celtic. Spurs are absolutely bonkers, aren't they? You don't get half the money for a friendly, surely. Tell me in the comments, do you actually get half the money for a friendly? Let's forget about Spurs coming in the summer. We'll leave that to see what happens. No Spurs game for me, no chance. Palestine everywhere if they appear. Yes, there'll be Palestine. That's the point. I don't think that would be with the current situation with what's just happened with a player that has been forced out due to comments from his homeland. And the media have tried to spin it and saying it was comments from Celtic fans. When you look at the online abuse that Leila Bada was getting from people back in Israel on his Instagram and stuff, when you look at the online abuse he was getting from people back home saying get away from that club, bringing Spurs up, it's just a stupid mistake by the board. But you know the board are that stupid. They're that stupid and they would make that kind of... Anyway, let's just move on for it. Let's move on. Baz, do you reckon we will win the league? Liam, I have no idea. If after the Dundee game, I would have said yes. But that performance against Hearts, the way that we started the game in the first 10 minutes, before the sending off on the 16-minute mark, the 15, 16-minute mark, before then, the performance wasn't good. We weren't at the races the first 10 or 15 minutes. We weren't as fast as what we were against Dundee. I think we will still... I hope we win the league. But there's a little bit of doubt creeping into my mind now. There's just a little bit of doubt. Can we go on and win every game? It all depends what Celtic team turn up. Now, maybe there's been a situation in the background where it's been affecting the team. The whole Leila Bada situation. Now he's gone. Maybe they can all focus on together and focus on the players that are left. Bernaby's going out the door. What happens if Greg Taylor gets injured? Who do we put out to the left back position? There's all these permutations now that are coming into it. Leila Bada for me could have scored goals and won us the league. But he wanted away. He was a player that wanted away. If Greg Taylor gets injured, if he gets a yellow card, if he gets sent off, and a reckless tackle, anything. Do you know it's the Scottish League? You can get a sending off for almost anything these days. Are we winning? Are we really going to win every game until the end of the season? It's heart in your mouth stuff. Heart in your mouth stuff. What do you think? Baz, don't talk about Celtic like that. I'm just being serious. And maybe a smoke screen to speak to Ange. It's maybe a smoke screen to speak to Ange. But Celtic aren't going to speak to Ange. We couldn't afford him now. We couldn't afford Ange Postecoglou. I'm glad Brendan spoke against the establishment. It's about time that he did that, says Cineres. Perfect. Carlin says, without Calmac, forget the title. Forget the title. Callum McGregor. Celtic haven't come up with any news today about Callum McGregor. He was having a scan. He was having the results of a scan today that was going to determine exactly how long he's going to. Brendan Rodgers has said that it looks like he will be out until after the international break, which is in just a couple of weeks' time. So, as I said this morning, if he's out 3 games this month, it's games that on paper we should win. It's games that aren't going to be as hard. It's not really top 6 stuff that something that we're worried about. It's apart from the St Mirren game, but on paper we should win the 3 games. If we don't, Brendan Rodgers will be. Anyway, left back options are Ralston, Scales, and Young Frame if Taylor gets injured. Tony Ralston, is that the way that we want to finish? No disrespect to Tony Ralston, but is that the way that we want to finish the season? I just feel that Celtic we went so far forward over the previous 2 seasons before this. Not even we went that far forward, and now we're getting rid of players that were deemed not good enough. We've got rid of some amount of players that were brought in by Ange Postecoglou. What does that say about Ange Postecoglou? Because it was his signings. He signed off Bernaby. Do you know what I mean? And people are giving all this love and saying, yeah, get Ange Postecoglou up in the summer. But what does it say when Celtic and Brendan Rodgers are trying to get rid of the majority of the players that he brought in because they're not deemed good enough? Brendan Rodgers only made probably about 2 signings, 2 or 3 signings this year, and one was Phillips. And Phillips was only brought in as a stopgap because we had that many players injured at the start of the season and not fit. Kobayashi, he's another one that's could be on his way out the door. Bernaby, he's away because Ange Postecoglou brought him in and he wasn't good enough. These are players. There's another one, Ideguchi. I mean, Ange Postecoglou brought him in, and he hardly kicked the ball for Celtic. So I think we can all accept that Ange Postecoglou did a lot of good things for Celtic, but he brought in a lot of absolute mince as well. So we can't forget that. And it's going to be an interesting summer. It's going to be a really interesting summer at Celtic to see what happens. Kaiser, I got your message, and I'm looking at another way to get you coming on live. Chilpel, as long as Calmac isn't out for the Scotland games, he'll come back fresh as a daisy. And Callum McGregor will be out for the Scotland games. He'll be back after that, according to Brendan Rodgers. Carly loves Brendan Rodgers. That's good. Good. I've still got my Brendan Rodgers t-shirt from my good old days in section 111. I'm not here to take part. We're here to take over with the one and only Bruni and Kieran Tierney on the message. What's David Hutchinson saying to it? That Chilpel deleted the message. I've never even seen that. Green Machine says you can only use the tools you have at your disposal. By God, we'll have a few tools. Yeah, we do that. Ideguchi is now playing at his skin in the J League just now. Yes, he is that. And it's he was the best. He was the best player when Ange Postecoglou brought them in. Ideguchi was actually the better player out of him and Hatate. And it's weird how that one's worked out. And Hatate is the one that's been injured all of this season. So anyway, Ange brought them in because he could play the Ange way, says James. Why hasn't he taken any of them to Spurs with him? When a manager, Kieran Tierney was on the hit lists. And so Callum McGregor, Brendan Rodgers wanted Callum McGregor to go down to Leicester with him. And Callum said no. So Burnaby's only on loan. Yes, it is only on loan, but when he's going back to South America, let's face it, he's going back to a team in Brazil. When he's going back to a team in Brazil on loan, he's not coming back. He's not coming back. Not a chance. Not a chance. There's no return for that. I mean, it's the same as what the guy on the Arsenal page, what's his name? Charles Watts' YouTube channel, with 95,000 subscribers. When he was talking about Tierney, he said that there's no way back for Tierney. And it's the same with Burnaby. Once Burnaby goes out on loan and he gets some game time down in Brazil, oh, lucky sod. And actually seen another YouTuber actually was down in Brazil watching a football game. Lucky sod, that's what I should be then. No sitting here. But no, Burnaby, even though he is only on loan, it'll be a loan with an option to buy. It's a loan to the end of this season, which to me says that'll be him. He's back in South America. He's not coming back. William Armstrong, you're not laughing now, you're specky ball. Oh dear, there's another William Armstrong who's just decided to join the channel. And then I can click this button, William, and it says that you'll never be seen again. You'll never be seen again. So even though that you've messaged there and we deleted it, I'm still laughing. Still laughing. Glorious sunshine outside today, 20 degrees. Welcome onto the channel anytime. In fact, once it gets a bit lighter at night in a couple of weeks' time, I'll probably sit outside in the garden and do these lives. And let you see the palm trees and the orange trees and the lemons and everything else. Whilst you sit in your little dark place, back home in Glasgow and masturbate over trying to get onto one Celtic fan's view, subscribing to the channel just to be blocked again. I do feel sorry for you. I do feel really sorry for you. But anyway, William Armstrong, if that's your real name, welcome aboard, and we'll love the fact that you watch the channel. Anyway, let's get back to some Celtic news this evening. Obviously, Tottenham have been linked with a big money. The Spurs said potential broadcasting deals, sponsorship deals for the clash could once again prove very lucrative for both clubs due to the interest such a match would generate. Pre-season fixtures offer a great way for clubs to raise some cash and a great opportunity for players to get themselves ready for the season ahead. Exploiting certain markets will be great for Tottenham, and Postecoglou's connection with Celtic would be a stroke of genius from Levy to take his team up to Glasgow. Not a friggin' chance. This guy, obviously, that writes for Tottenham Hotspur News, obviously doesn't look at the situation. Behave, Baz, I know. Anyway, Green Machine says, as long as we're starting with a shout, anything can happen. I would never write off Celtic. No, not at all. Agreed, Shabba, get rid of all them, including him. John Shirley, what about McCarthy? Well, McCarthy, jeez. Anyway, you let them know. Yes, do let them know. And it is nice. William's probably still watching, so. Anyway, Baz, you have traumatised me talking about them and their. Oh, no. A lot of people said, I just think it would be the wrong thing for us to play Tottenham Hotspur. I think it would be. There's a certain section of their fans that would love to come up here and just fight Celtic fans just for the sake of it. Anyway, let's say Kieran Tierney has been mentioned with Celtic again. But he's not directly mentioned with Celtic, but there's a Arsenal guy talking about that he reckons that his time is up and whether Real Sociedad will make a permanent move for him this summer. People are saying that Brendan Rodgers likes Kieran Tierney. Could Kieran Tierney be back up at Celtic? It's one that I don't think would be a great... If he can stay fit, yes, but his problem being that he's never managed to stay fit. with the Scottish League. Can he stay a bit fitter? Who knows? And Brendan Rodgers is getting taken to the galleys. Taken to the galleys. Brendan Rodgers has been charged by the FA, the Celtic boss, faces possible ban for the Sevco class. The Rangers, the Glasgow Rangers 2012. Following his comments for the defeat to Hearts, Brendan Rodgers will be taken to the gallows. Taken to the gallows and he'll be lashed and told that he cannot go to the Celtic Rangers game. Brendan Rodgers set up a fire sale. Has Brendan Rodgers set up a fire sale, getting as many players out? There has been one suggestion this afternoon. There has been one suggestion this afternoon that someone said to me. Are Celtic clearing the wage bill to go out and spend good money on a goalkeeper? Are they clearing the wage bill so that they can get in a fantastically good goalkeeper? Celtic have been linked with a couple of goalkeepers, and one goalkeeper in particular is on a fantastic wage. Will he be offered a wage at Celtic that would make it attractive enough for him to come to Scottish football? Maybe that's why Celtic are clearing the decks. They're getting rid of much of the deadwood as possible so that they can go out and spend good money on a goalkeeper and a couple of other players. What it does suggest, with the fact that Bernabe is out the door, Leila Bada is out the door on 10 million, 8 million up front, and then another 2 million on achievable targets. I wonder what the targets are. Maybe just staying up in the MLS. But will Celtic, it looks like Celtic are going to have an interesting summer in the transfer market. I don't think there'll be a lot of loan signings coming in. I don't think there'll be a lot of players coming in that are prospects. I do think that what it's looking likely is Celtic are going to go out and spend some good money. Will it be for the Champions League or will it be for Europa? Brendan Too Much Ban says Martin Davey, we need more than one good goalkeeper. Yes, we do need more than one good goalkeeper, but getting a top level one in to start with. And you've got to remember, young Toby is due back at Celtic. If he's good enough, get him back as the third choice keeper, rather than putting him out on loan again. Maybe that's why Celtic put young Toby out on loan this season, knowing the fact that Benji Siegrist was going to be leaving Celtic. They have a ready-made keeper that they can bring in through the youth system. They've had him out on loan. He's had a reasonably good season, I believe. And maybe that could be our third choice keeper this season. Anyway, we've been on for 33 minutes this evening already. Let's get some of the comments before we finish up. I'll just double check there's any Celtic news kicking around. Kenny Miller talking about Celtic star set to join the MLS, says EPL Index. And Alan Cloyce has been given a title prediction. Who cares what Fat Sally says? The gardening leave specialist. Anyway, the headlines tonight, Celtic news headlines tonight are that Brendan Rodgers has been charged by the SFA and faces a possible ban for the Celtic game. Rocco Vata has been, he's wanted by Watford. Rocco Vata is wanted by Watford. He has refused to sign a contract at Celtic, which would make him a Celtic player until 2027. He wants an improved deal at Celtic, seemingly. Celtic would get compensation of around £239,000 as compensation if he went to Watford. I've been interested in one. The 18-year-old striker winger has had a little bit of game time under Brendan Rodgers. He did score against a Bucky Thistle, but he hasn't signed that new contract, and he said that he doesn't want to sign it, so it could be time up for him. And then the big talking point down in London today is Ange Postecoglou might be bringing Tottenham Hotspur up to Scotland in the summer for a friendly, and they're suggesting it will be Celtic because Celtic has the bigger ground, has the 60,000 seater stadium, and when they talk about bringing in the food, bringing in sponsorship and such alike, they'd be expecting half the gates receipt and half the money for everything at Celtic Park. Unbelievable. I think that would be a complete disaster if they bring up Tottenham Hotspur to Celtic. Anyway, we need a keeper. Let's get some of the comments in before we call it a night. Carly says, can't wait for Joe Hart to go. Yeah, he's had some good saves, but Fat Sally. Brendan Rodgers is a winner, said Vincent. Chilpin says, I think it's disrespectful to Big Joe. He's been a great signing. Ian says, we need a keeper fast. We do need a keeper. And I think that a goalkeeper is I want a goalkeeper brought in as soon as the transfer window opens. I don't want us to be kicking around towards the end of the season, end of the summer. We need a goalkeeper in as soon as the transfer window opens. And maybe that's why Celtic are making the moves to clear the debts as much as possible just now. Get as many people off the wage bill as possible so that it frees up as much wages as it can to bring in a top goalkeeper, which suggests we might be making a move for the Liverpool number 2. And on that note, we're going to call it a night, people. Have a fantastic evening. I'm just in the house. What's happening? Magnus, we're half an hour too late. Just time to go. Yes, I'll watch it again in 5 minutes. Anyway, on that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world. I'm off to get my tea.